Hello everybody. Today we are continuing where we picked off last time. We had gotten to major and minor seconds. Today we're taking the content to chapter 2 of Modus Novus and picking up fourths and fifths. Okay? So, this one especially, arguably even more than Monday, is going to be quite familiar to us because if you recall, we were doing some kind of stacked fifths and stacked fourths singing exercises back in the winter. So this should be kind of old news for us, hopefully. Okay, so we had major second, we had minor second, we're adding perfect fourth, perfect fifth. Now, for those of you who are still keeping track of your trichords, for a non-comprehensive list, this kind of gives us some of those from before. We have 015, 016, 025, and 027, right? So, kind of the interval content of these specific trichords, if, you're still keeping track of that, which hopefully you are. Okay, so, be careful with, I call them tonal shadows or tonal specters, because the inclination for fourths and fifths is to hear them as sol and do, okay, either, sol do or do sol. That can be useful on paper, but it can also lead you astray if you're not careful, because it might lend more weight to a certain pitch than it really deserves or requires, which means that you could accidentally kind of reset your ears around a pitch that may or may not be that significant for the sight singing. So do your best to really try to remove that kind of solfege context. Okay, if you're using fixed do, no big deal. And if you're singing the interval sizes, or if you're singing pitch classes, if instead of singing sol do, you're singing 0-7, then that kind of skirts this. So just be careful. As I mentioned last time, there's several systems you can use for post-tonal sight singing, and I'm not going to necessarily enforce any of those on you, as long as you find one that works. Okay, so just be careful that when you see fourths and fifths, you don't immediately assume a tonic-dominant relationship. Think of it as an interval rather than a function, so to speak. Okay, so here we go. So let's take a look at this. This is the fourths to start with, and then the fifths. Okay, we've seen both of these before in stuff that we did last quarter. So here we go. This is F, so sing either 5 or La or, let me see, that would be Fa. In any case, okay, here we go. Let's just try this out with the keyboard. For the 16th notes, do your best. We'll do this one a couple times. Ready? Let's try singing fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Yeah, that kind of fourth sound we've had before. Okay? It's something that we've seen. Let's go ahead and try that again. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Yeah. All fourths. There's that 1 second to kind of reset us there. But in any case, that's about as fourthy as a piece gets. So, fifths, same kind of deal, just a bit of a wider interval. Let's go ahead and sing this middle one as if it was a melody instead of as two separate measures. Let's sing it as if it's a melody. This is a quite wide register. So remember, it is always acceptable to switch octaves when need be. So starts on A down here, right? So try this out without me, okay? Notice where we start and where we end and how that may or may not be different. Okay, so try this one without me. Ready? It's just going to be quarter notes. This is going to be our tempo. Ready? 1 and 2 and ready and go. Yeah, so this one is quite nice because hopefully, especially because it's a regular intervallic pattern, it should be easy to predict what the next pitch is going to be, even if you didn't look at it. If I just said start here and sing 3/5, you'd be able to kind of get the gist. So, ready? Let's check your pitch. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Yeah, so we've just got fifths up, And then we go up a half step and go back down. Right? So, relatively straightforward. Again, fourths and fifths are pretty comfortable, I think. Okay? Here we go. Now we've got fourths and fifths separated by minor seconds. Let's do each of these one at a time. Notice that we've got some transformations here. We've got our original, we've got our inversion, our retrograde, and our retrograde inversion. So kind of remind yourself of what those transformations are, just for future reference. It'll come back at some point. Here's C, or Do, or Zero, or La. Okay? Let's do this one at a time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Fourth, fifth, minor second. Try again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let's see number 2. Okay, so where does number 2 start? This is where we ended. Hear the first pitch of number 2 in your head. Now sing it. Yeah, okay. Let's try this now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, notice that because we've inverted it, we've got the fourth at the top and then the fifth at the bottom instead of fourth at the bottom, fifth at the top. Okay, let's do number 3, starting on the same pitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so before, for 2, for the inverted one, we had a fourth and then a fifth. Now we have a fifth and then a fourth, right? Again, being able to kind of quickly look at the score and to see these differences is really key for nailing post-tonal music. Having a vocabularic mastery of your intervals and what they should sound like and what they should feel like to sing, and a very quick wit in determining what intervals are is really the long and the short of it. Okay, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of build out this intervallic familiarity as the quarter goes on. So, last but not least, let's do 4, the retrograde inversion, starting on 0 again. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, try again. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Yeah, so here we got the fifth on the bottom, fourth on the top. So notice we have all kind of possibilities here. Fourth on the bottom, fifth on the top, okay? Fourth on the top, fifth on the bottom, a switch, and so on, okay? All of our possibilities. So, let's take a look at this one. Let's treat this as if it were its own melody, okay? So, let's pretend that 37 and 38 are 2 measures of 4/4, and that 39 is just a continuation when we switch to 3/4. Okay, so this is all one big melody. Notice we've got the same shape that we just had a second ago in the first 2 measures. Notice that shape kind of continues in measure in the 3/4 measure, but then it alters a bit. So there's your first pitch. There's Do or 0 or La, or there's another one, wasn't there? Do or 0 or La. Anyways, okay. Let's take 20 seconds and review this, okay? And then we'll sing it together in just a moment, okay? Okay, let's try this out. There's 0, okay? 1, 2, ready, together. So C almost seems like it takes a lot of importance because of how this works out, because of the shape. Right? We've got this kind of inverted structure there where we start and end on C. Right? But then it changes a bit. We then do a fourth and then another fourth, right? Just like in measure 37. But then it resolves differently. We go up, down, right? So instead of going down, we go up from 7 up to 8, from G to A flat, and then down a fourth to E flat, right? So let's go ahead and try that again. Let's go a little bit quicker this time, okay? Once more, a little bit quicker. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Yeah, okay, great. Let's go ahead and do this guy over here. So, starts on 2 or D or Re or La. Let's just go ahead. Let's also do this one as if it's a melody. I think that'll be a fun challenge. I will assist you with the leap from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 5 and so on. Because those are intervals that we're not really going to cover in much detail for a little while, okay? But I'm not going to really help you out except for those spots, okay? So take 30 seconds and review this, and then you'll sing it without me, okay? Okay. Sing your first pitch. Okay. So I'm only going to assist you in the transition from measure 1 to measure 2, and the transition from measure 2 to measure 5. Okay? Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so let's work backwards on this one. So measure 6 gets us to 9, right? We have a 5th down, right? Minor 2nd down, 4th up, 5th down, right? Let's just say measure 6, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, measure 5. I keep saying measure 5. These are the examples, of course. Measure 5. All white keys. That one's relatively straightforward. We've got a 5th up. We've got a 4th down. We've got a 2nd down. We've got a 4th up. We've got a 2nd up. Okay, ready? 1, 2, measure 5. And the first 2 measures, barring the odd transition between them, are things that we've seen before. Right? Similar shapes to what we were just doing. Okay? So let's try the whole thing again, this time with my assistance. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Three, 4. Okay, great. So let's do one more. It's going to be a longer one. It's from the melody section of the chapter. Okay, but rhythmically it's not too bad, and it's only in 3. So I think we can do this. So let's talk through this a bit. okay? And look for kind of commonalities like we did last time. So, starts on B flat, ends on B flat. That's nice. How fun. Notice we start by ascending by a fifth, another fifth, descending fourth, descending fourth. So we kind of ascend by fifths, descend by fourths in the first 4 measure. Great. Measure 5, descend by fourths, descend by fourths, ascend by, then we ascend back by fourths. Okay. Same thing happens again. Descend by fourths, ascend by fifths this time, and then descend by fifths. This gets us all the way to measure 10, right? So 5 to 10 has this kind of internal logic here. You've got descending fourths, and then you've got descending fourths turning into ascending fifths, right? Measure 11, we do an octave displacement, up an octave, okay? Descend fifths, and then we do ascend fourths again. This gets us to measure 15. 15 to the end is all just descending seconds, right? Right? It's kind of stuttering along the way instead of a clean descent because we have kind of a start and stop happening in 15, 16, 17, so on. But roughly, I would divide this somewhat into kind of, let's say, kind of 4 thematic parts. We have this kind of establishment in the first 4 measures of kind of the type of content we're going to be having with these ascending fifths and descending fourths. 5 to 10 build on that, okay? The same type of idea, but played around with a little bit more. You have this kind of recurring kind of B flat F that keeps coming back again and again. Once we get to measure 11 to 14, we've got this kind of new material, this big descents that are all still the same interval content, but it's different pitch content. And then measure 15 all the way to the end is just kind of a cadential sigh back down to B flat, which in this case does have somewhat of a central importance for this melody. Okay, which again happens sometimes, but not all the time. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to give you a full minute. Okay, we've just talked through the whole thing. Okay, I've played through most of it. Again, not as a melody, but in bits and pieces here and there. Take a full minute and look it over. We're going to try it once through without me, and then once through with me, and then we're going to call it a day. Okay? So here we go. So sing your first note. You can sing either ten, or te, or la, or B flat. Okay? Take a full minute. Okay, let's try it out, okay? Sing do, or probably not do. Sing la, or te, or B flat, or 10. Ready? 1, and 2, and 3. Here's measure 11. Okay, so that got us to the end. Hopefully we ended where we started, okay? Let's do that one more time, okay? Fix any mistakes we had on the first time, just get a more familiarity with it, this time with the keyboard. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and. Measure 11. Okay, so hopefully we ended together. Hopefully there wasn't any place that was particularly challenging, because again, all we're working here is generally fourths and fifths. There's a couple spots where, like for instance, the F sharp up to B flat is a bit of a reset. That's bigger than a second, but in any case, it's mostly minor seconds, major seconds, perfect fourths, perfect fifths. Okay, so that's going to do it for today. Okay. Next time, we're going to do some harmonic dictation. We're going to be continuing with chords. I'll kind of explain what I mean by this on Friday. Your participation assignment that I'm assigning right now, which is due Friday, May 8th at 10 a.m., is in Modus Novus, Chapter 4, Number 8, Chapter 4, Number 9, Chapter 4, Number 23. I didn't pick particularly long ones, and I believe they're all rhythmically relatively simple. So I'd like a relative degree of polish. I may or may not in the future assign, like, say 1 or 2, but they're longer and more challenging. This time I tried to assign 3 that are all relatively doable in not a ton of time. So again, if you ever need an extension or ever having difficulties with the participation, just let me know. I'd be happy to work with you further. Okay? So that's going to do it for today. Okay? We have sung 4 intervals. We've gotten through 2 chapters of Modus Novus. We're getting some of the participation from Chapter 4, so we're already doing great. And next week, we'll be building on our interval content with thirds and the tritone, okay? So our chords on Friday are going to contain mostly our seconds and our fourth and our fifth, okay? So as we evolve our interval content for singing, we'll evolve our interval content for dictations too. So we'll be sticking around with fourths, fifths, and seconds on Friday. In any case, have a wonderful week. Participation due Friday morning, and I will see all of you next time.